So it's been a while since I've published such shorter format, but it's here. I've managed to get my hands on Scottish Linn Majik 109, which actually are a freeway bookshelf speakers. Looking at them from the front, just take a look for yourself. The high-frequency module with the 30mm tweeter and the 16mm supertweeter looks absolutely stunning, almost as if it's floating in the air. The craftsmanship fit almost like from Apple product, looking at this beautiful aluminum cast enclosure. Below, no visible screws. The mid-bass driver sits behind elegant grille, somewhat similar to what I had in my Quadral Platinum Plus 2, though here it's made of metal instead of fabric. The front is topped off by the gorgeous protruding metal Linn emblem. The overall finish is superb, with several options including quite a few wood veneers. Mine came with this matte white finish, which is still pretty decent, every edge is perfectly aligned, the paint quality is excellent, and even the back looks good, maybe aside from that black rear plate. Would be nicer if it used this silver aluminum instead. Okay, there is one thing I really don't like. That plastic ring surrounding the bass reflex port is made of poor quality composite and simply doesn't fit well with the rest of the design. It would have been so much better if Linn had machined it directly in the MDF, or at least used some other material with better feel. Moving on to the sound, its overall signature is quite distinctive. Those slightly remind me that of the Bowers & Wilkins 685 S2 and Indiana line Tessie 3. The soundstage is strikingly clear and spacious, there is a whole lot of air and openness, which I believe comes at least in part from the placement of the high-frequency module amidst the bass reflex port. It gives a sort of quasi-coaxial driver effect, or at least that's how it feels. Most notably, what stands out the most here, Southern instruments that bridge the mid-range and treble, like trumpets, are really emphasized. Mids seem neutral, while the treble itself is prominent and slightly elevated in the highest registers. When comparing the measurements I took in my listening room with my reference Quadral Platinum Plus 2, the difference isn't as big as seen in some French designs, or say the Audio Vector Q1 I tested earlier. It's more subtle, but the general voicing still clearly leans towards the top end, not low end power. 109 gives you plenty of detail and impressive selectivity. Tiny clicks and textures in certain tracks are beautifully rendered and easy to separate. However, at times the speakers seem to lose composure in treble area, sounding slightly dry and a bit chaotic. Perhaps not necessarily that good for near-field listening as well. Still, I wouldn't blame the tweeter module alone. What's missing here is balance, particularly the amount of low end. There is simply not enough bass to compensate, and in this respect, Linn doesn't really have an excuse. Even with the front-firing bass port, at this price and with such sophisticated high-frequency assembly, I expected to see a bit more compensation in the lowest registers. Don't get me wrong, the imaging is captivating. There is some depth even. Turn the volume up and play the right kind of music, and you will be absolutely blown away by the space and openness they deliver. But let's say play something more mainstream or at lower volumes, and the magic sort of fades away. The whole thing starts to sound flat, and you will be wishing for a bit more body and warmth, as you would get from even much cheaper speakers, not to mention Quadral Platinum Plus 2 or Chromium 35s. To sum up, Linn Majik 109 seems to be made for those looking for forward and wide sounding speaker with very good imaging rather than all-around performance. It has some serious limitations, and I've yet again concluded that sufficient bass response is crucial for any speaker to make it versatile and enjoyable at lower volumes. However, I think we all can appreciate the refinement in the design and the fact you can skip quite fair original pricing if we really include their origins of assembly, build quality, unique freeway construction, and beautiful finishes. After all, speakers are part of your furniture too. And you will hardly find another one quite like this among the competition. Which brings me to the recently introduced Successor, the new 119, in which Linn completely abandoned the previous design and switched to the very basic one that looks, let's be honest, ordinary, especially with visible screws on the front, despite the price, which also got heftier, I believe. It's a shame because this freeway concept had a lot of potential and definitely much differentiate Linn from its rivals, even in the looks area alone. That said, I'm not writing them off, because it's important to stay open-minded, so I would like to give them a try in the future as well. Perhaps they improved on mentioned weaknesses, I just can't understand abandoning such design. But let me know what do you think in the comments, especially if you listen to this. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next one.